The origin of relativity theory began in 1887. In this year, an experiment was performed by Michelson and Morley. They wanted to prove to the creationists that Earth is moving through ether. They wanted to find this ether wind that should be moving past Earth. They thought that if Earth is moving through ether, then light should be traveling faster in one direction and slower in the other direction. But when they fired light in one direction and then the other direction, they saw that there was no difference. It looked like Earth was not moving through ether. Now, because they did not want to be laughed at by creationists, out of desperation, Lorentz and Einstein came up with length contraction and relativity theory. Then, ether theory was abandoned and relativity theory began. Before we go into ether theory, it's important that we don't become too specific. Since we can't see ether, we don't want to claim that ether is definitely made of square particles or something. Why guess the specific? Now the ether theory. Ether could be thought of as a lattice. All the planets move through this lattice, just like the lattice of a diamond or other atomic structures. Maybe there are nucleuses and electron-like bindings. Now, light is moving through this lattice. Light is electrical. Looks like there are charges moving through ether. Positive and negative moves through ether. We don't know what light is exactly. We could say light is electric and magnetic fields that move through ether. At the spot where light was emitted, light travels straight from that spot on ether. Light does not have sideways velocity. We see that when we emit light, it travels straight from that spot in ether. When light is still in motion, Earth moves, then we catch a different light path. At whatever angle the sun catches the starlight, the Earth will have a different angle depending on Earth's speed relative to the sun. Light just travels in a straight line from the star and we calculate our relative angles of the telescopes. This is the speed of light in the glass traveling relative to the glass. This is the speed of light in the water traveling relative to the water. This is the speed of light in the air traveling relative to the air. This is the speed of light in the laboratory vacuum traveling relative to the observer. Now air has 2.7 times 10 to the 19 molecules per 1 centimeter cubed. Lab vacuum has about 10,000 molecules per 1 centimeter cubed. Solar system vacuum has about 5 atoms per 1 centimeter cubed. Galactic vacuum has about 1 atom per 1 centimeter cubed. Between galaxies vacuum has about 1 atom per 1.64 centimeter cubed. All light experiments are explained with ether. If light on Earth is traveling relative to the Earth, light in the solar system is traveling relative to the Sun, light in the galaxy is traveling relative to the galaxy, light between galaxies is traveling relative to the galaxies. We could say, for some reason, light is traveling relative to the matter, and all the light experiments are explained with ether. Michelson and Morley experiment? Why were they looking for ether drift? Light is traveling relative to the Earth. The only difference they would see is the Sagnac effect. They are using relativity in GPS. Light is traveling relative to the air. If we can't get rid of matter in a vacuum, how can we say light is traveling relative to the observer? We could claim that light never hits atoms in a vacuum, but it's hard to believe. If there is no matter, then light would be traveling relative to the ether. The thing that destroys relativity but supports ether is a thing from quantum mechanics called virtual particles. They believe that there are virtual particles in a vacuum that pop in and out of existence. If they do that, then light should be traveling relative to this matter because they would be gravitationally attracted to the matter around it. Later, in the quantum mechanics ether interpretation section, we will learn that there is a different explanation for the virtual particles, and that there is nothing that pops in and out of existence.